Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into something universal. Food.
And not just what we eat, but why. Food trends, culinary icons, the whole shebang.
We've got a fantastic stack of sources to guide us, all about the history of food and dining. You guys gave us a lot to chew on with these.
It seems like you're hungry not just for delicious meals, but for the stories behind them.
Exactly. We're gonna uncover how those trends take hold, why we crave what we crave. Plus, we'll meet a real culinary trailblazer from Argentina, Doña Petrona.
Yeah, Petrona. Now, there was a woman who knew how to command a kitchen.
Oh, absolutely. And she built an empire doing it. Cometa 3.pdf really paints her as this savvy businesswoman.
It's true. She started small, running boarding house.
Really just out of necessity. I mean, people got to eat.
Exactly. But she turned that need into a massive opportunity.
It's brilliant, actually.
And you have to consider the timing, too.
Hmm.
Early 20th century Argentina, radio and magazines, they were becoming the way to reach people. Doña Petrona, she knew how to work it.
Imagine that, your grandma becoming a national star because of her radio cooking show.
She was a natural, that's for sure. Live from her kitchen, sharing her recipes and tips. Genius.
This Cometa 3.pdf source, it mentions how she was teaching good taste to a whole generation.
Right, and it wasn't just about what tasted good on your plate either.
There was more to it.
Absolutely. Argentina's middle class, they were on the rise, and they wanted the lifestyle to match.
So her food, it was aspirational.
Exactly. Doña Petrona's recipes, they were often pretty elaborate, not just weeknight dinners. They were a way to show off a little, to say, look, we've arrived.
Food as a status symbol. Wow. It makes you think about all the ways we use food to say something about ourselves, doesn't it? It's like she was writing the cookbook for a whole new way of life. But times change, don't they? And it looks like Doña Petrona, she changed right along with them.
She was adaptable, that's for sure. After World War II, Argentina went through some major shifts.
Smaller families, less help around the house.
Exactly. Cometa 3.pdf actually touches on this, how those post-war years meant less time for elaborate meals, less space for those big kitchens.
So what did she do? Did she stick to her guns, all those fancy recipes?
Not at all. She pivoted. Became, well, more practical.
You got to keep up with the times, I guess.
Right. And her later cookbooks, they reflect that. Simpler recipes, things that wouldn't take all day to make.
Makes you wonder, though, about the ingredients themselves. Were those always easy to come by?
That's a really important point. Because even if the recipes are simpler, the ingredients, they still cost money. And not everyone had the same budget.
So was Doña Petrona's food truly for everyone, or was it more about, aspiration? I mean, it makes you think about food trends in general, doesn't it? It's not just about taste. It's about economics, too, and who gets to participate.
It's all connected. And this is where we start to see the rise of fast food, which Cometa 4.pdf and Cometa 7.pdf really get into. It's a stark contrast, honestly, to what Doña Petrona was doing.
Right, because fast food, it's all about efficiency, standardization.
Precisely. A burger and fries. It's the same in Buenos Aires as it is in New York City.
Which, I mean, is that a good thing? This whole democratization of food?
The big question. On the one hand, it made eating out accessible to way more people. But on the other, did it lead to this kind of homogenized culinary landscape?
Right, where everything starts to taste the same. But Cometa 3.pdf also talks about how food trends often come full circle. Like, look at the slow food movement.
Absolutely. That emphasis on local sourcing, traditional methods, taking your time to really savor a meal.
Yeah.
Almost like a direct response to the fast food boom.
Like a rejection of all that speed and uniformity.
And in a way, it's kind of a return to those values Doña Petrona championed. Quality ingredients, thoughtful preparation. It all comes back around, doesn't it?
It's fascinating to see those connections, how food trends react to what came before. But this deep dive, it's about the big picture, right? Not just one chef or one country.
Absolutely. We've only scratched the surface. Cometa2.pdf takes us on a whirlwind tour of other culinary movements. We've got French haute cuisine, for instance.
Haute cuisine. That sounds pretty intimidating. Honestly, a little stuffy for my taste.
Well, it's definitely a very specific tradition. Very intricate, very focused on technique.
Yeah, those chefs like Escoffier, Carême, they were all about pushing the boundaries of what could be done in the kitchen.
And they created a whole culture around fine dining. Those multi-course meals, the elegant presentation, it all stems from that era. But even haute cuisine, it didn't stay static.
Because then you have things like Nouvelle Cuisine coming along in the 60s. That was a whole rebellion against the formality of classic French cooking, wasn't it?
Exactly. Cometa2.pdf gets into this a bit. Lighter dishes, a real focus on fresh, seasonal ingredients. It was a breath of fresh air.
Like saying, hey, food can be delicious without being so fussy.
And that's what's so interesting about all these trends. They're a reaction to what came before, to social changes, economic shifts.
So we've gone from Doña Petrona's Argentinian kitchen to the heights of French cuisine. We've seen the rise of fast food and the slow food response. It makes you realize food really is a window into who we are, isn't it?
Without a doubt. It's about more than just what's on our plates. It reflects our values, our anxieties, the world we live in.
It's a lot to think about. Makes you wonder, what's next for food? Will we see a return to those simpler times, like Doña Petrona's focus on family meals and fresh ingredients? Or is technology going to completely change how we think about food in ways we can't even imagine yet?
It's, it's an exciting time to be curious about food, that's for sure. And I hope this deep dive has given you all some food for thought, so to speak. Thanks for joining us on this culinary journey.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe it will inspire your next meal. Until next time.